I wanted to, in this video, just talk for a minute about scale. I've already done this, but I wanted to show you one way of trying to determine the scale of the drawing. Most of the time, ultimately, we're going to end up putting a drawing on paper. And most of the time, we're going to be using what's called a D-size sheet of paper, which can usually be assumed to be 24 inches by 36 inches. Now, sometimes a D-size sheet is thought to be 22 by 34, and the reason for that is because that's exactly twice 11 by 17. So either way, I'm going to use 24 by 36. So you can see I've already done this, but let me just erase this rectangle that I drew earlier. Sorry here. Erase. There we go. Erase the rectangle. Good. Now, this is all we have, and the question is, if we're going to put this on a D-size sheet of paper, what's our scale going to be? So one way to do this, it might not be the most elegant way in the world, is I'm going to use my rectangle command. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle off to the side. So I'm going to say rectangle. I'm just going to pick a point over here, any point. And now I'm going to type in the X value and then the Y value. So I'm going to say that at symbol, it's the shifted number 2 key. So I say at, and then I'm going to type in 24, comma, 36. And I'll hit enter. And so I've got that little rectangle there that's 24 feet by 36 feet. Now, that would be what I could show on a drawing where the scale was 1 inch equals a foot. Well, clearly we cannot show everything we've done at that scale. So I'm going to use my scale command here, and usually this is, you might try it a couple times. If I say scale, and I think, well, maybe I can do this at 1 inch equals 20 feet. So I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to right-click to complete my selection set of objects. And then I'm going to usually choose an endpoint of this. I'll choose the lower left corner of my rectangle. And you see how that pins it down. And I'm just going to make it 20 times as big as it was. So I'm going to type in 20 and hit enter. Now that would be what you could show on a D-size sheet at 1 inch equals 20 feet. So that's fine, but it's clearly not big enough. You see, if I slide this over here, I'm only going to get one block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale that up again, but this time by a factor of 2. So I'm going to say scale, pick that, right-click to complete my selection set of objects. Almost always I'm going to pin it down so it doesn't fly off into outer space. And this time my scale factor will be 2. So this is what I could show on a D-size sheet at 1 inch equals 40 feet. And it turns out this works pretty well. So if I slide this over here, it's just about perfect. So that's what I did previously to determine the scale of this drawing. So, and we already made our scale here, 1 inch equals 40 feet. So this is a D-size sheet at 1 inch equals 40 feet. It's always good to have an idea what your scale will be in the end, because that determines the size of your text and so forth. So let's do one more thing here. Let's make a new style. Remember, the command is style. And you get this text style dialog box, and let's let's choose the new button here, and let's call this title. Now remember, our street name was 8 feet tall. I'd like to use the same font, this Swiss 721 BLKBT, but let's make it, if we make it 20 feet tall, it'll be ½ an inch when we plot. So let's just say 20 and then apply, set current, and close. Now I'd like to put a little title up here in this corner, so let's use DT for single line text. Now if we right click right here, we can choose justify, and that might be nice to make things line up nice. And I'll just choose middle center here. I'm going to pick a point right here. Then I'm going to use my F8 function key to set, or I could come down here and turn on my ortho mode. Either way, I'm going to specify that I want my text to be horizontal. And let's just put a name to this, a name for this. Let's call it Civil 156. And I would recommend using all caps for something like this. Now you can kind of see why I wanted that justification. Let's type spring 2020. And then MATC campus. Hit enter twice, 1, 2, and obviously put it on the correct layer. So I do have a layer called text. If I double tap, I can make that layer current. I can highlight this. I can just go to my, actually the way to do it would be, highlight this, and then just go to my list of layers. Why isn't that? There we go. And I'll put it on my text layer. Okay, and then let's just leave it at that for now and see if you can get that taken care of.